you know, people always, they find out that I was raised in Japan, and they're quite fascinated that here I am, one holy boy, can speak better Japanese than them. And it's one of those interesting things. My life has been, I couldn't have written it, or nobody could have written it in any other way. 6 months old, my parents decided to become missionaries to Japan. This was right after the war. And so we ended up passing through on a freighter. 1951, we stopped by Honolulu and ended up in Japan. And about 6 months later, I almost died of diphtheria. And I just found out last year that the same time the freighter stopped in Honolulu, there was an outbreak of diphtheria going on in Honolulu, right in that area. So kind of ironic, huh? Hawaii almost killed me, and then ends up Hawaii raised me. So yeah, I was raised in Japan, and my parents, they decided to go in the boonies to do their gospel work. So there weren't any English schools. So I had to go to Japanese school with all Japanese kids. And I had to learn Japanese just like any other kid. And when I would come home from school, my mother would teach me English. And needless to say, after all day in school and then learning something else called English, I learned to hate English. And in fact, I'll never forget Mrs. Nip, 8th grade teacher at Hilo Intermediate. She pulled me on the side one day and said, "Mr. Crowley, you know, you gotta learn your ABCs, you know." Because every time I go LMNOP, I get one brain, you know, just locks up. I'd get all flustered and I couldn't finish my alphabet. So she kind of got on my case, and thanks to her, ladies and gentlemen, I learned my alphabet in the 8th grade. Not bad, eh? Smart, eh? Well, so my background is, you know, when I was in Japan as a kid, I was bigger than all the other kids, right? Japanese kids. So I was sumo champion. So I was like, I had one little gang going around the school, you know, we do anything you like, whatever. And all of a sudden, we arrive in Hilo, and all of a sudden, hey, you effing Harley, this and that. All of a sudden, I'm from here down to nothing. And it was tough. It was back in the 60s. Growing up in Hilo was not an easy proposition. And so, long story short, I met a few friends. One guy that was sitting right behind me in Mrs. Ryan's class in 7th grade. His name was Ronald Hudman. He was from Keokaha, part Hawaiian, part Haole, and he was big. And nobody bought Ronald Hudman. And he was right behind me, and I guess he took a liking to me. And that helped me to end up, you know, at least surviving. The first 3-4 months was crazy. I got hit, slapped, and punched around. But after Ronald kind of took me under his wings, it was like, oh, okay, no bother him. So I've always been appreciative to Ronald for providing me security, so to speak. And another thing that's so funny, I mean, my life is just filled with so many just oddities. I used to play trumpet when I was a kid. So when I arrived at Hilo Intermediate, I was designated to be in concert band, which is for 9th graders, okay, because I had already had experience. So I had to go 9th grade concert band, but in the process, all my schedules went all kapakahi, crazy. So I ended up in gym class with the Keokaha boys, the holy kid in gym class, and then one other Japanese kid, Ata Taniguchi. So here I am, you know, big tug in Japan, come over here, and I would think that probably one of the most, I got used to it, one of the most humiliating experiences I felt as a young kid in Hilo was in PE class. The PE teacher would take everybody out. Let's say they're going to play flag football, right? So the PE teacher would say, Oh yeah, everybody, boom, maybe about 30, 40, right? All in one big circle. And then he would pick, no, no, sir, you captain. Kamali, you captain. So they would junk in a poll to see who picks first, right? From this little core. So it starts to dwindle. Boom, 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 boom. Who was always the last two standing? Nobody else. Everybody else on the side of the team was Ata Taniguchi and myself. And to make matters worse, the two captains would junk in a poll and the loser take me. So it was quite an experience of childhood. And then on into high school, and then everybody knows that I got into plenty trouble because of different districts and guys trying to tantaran. So I had enough, and I knew some friends through church, Haile Church, a family called Filoteos, and so I knew they was into boxing, and so I asked Alan, hey, I gotta learn how to fight. He said, hey, come down. Long story short, I joined Hilo Boxing Club, and a wonderful man, their father, Coach Filoteo, Andy Filoteo, took me under his wings, named me Babyface, and ended up making a name for myself in boxing. My first year, voted Big Island Big Island Rookie of the Year, unreal. And then my second year, I was voted Big Island Most Popular Fighter of the Year. So my life has been just one up and down from one end to the other, and I think that's what made me. In the challenges even into the 20s and 30s, and ending up custody of my 3 kids, and at the age of 29, I didn't even know how to cook a pot of rice, and I to this day, it's amazing. I'm in amazement that my kids didn't die from all of the food that I cooked for them. I wrote a book about it, a 52-chapter book on a single parenting. No, but the crap, excuse my language, that I cooked for them, and then I covered it with Velveeta cheese. And that's the trick, guys. If you don't know how to cook, whatever you cook, you buy Velveeta cheese and you melt them on top. And then you tell everybody, time for eat, everybody, and everybody is in heaven. Because the Velveeta cheese takes away whatever the hell you cook that could have killed them. But yeah, I got better and better. So, you asked me about my childhood. Well, I could write volumes, chapters and chapters about my crazy life. But that's kind of give you a short idea as to the challenges I faced growing up and how that has affected me as a person here in Hawaii and running for office, facing the challenges, especially this one. This is probably one of the biggest challenges I've ever faced, running for Congress and running as the underdog. But I've been the underdog all my life, so I'm very used to it. In fact, I enjoy it. So, in a nutshell, that's how it all started.